Winter weather is in full effect this weekend. See how your commute could change.
Mavericks owner Mark Cuban is in the middle of a controversy that has nothing to do with winning games.
And how about an out-of-the-world way to get your internet? We'll explain.
Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas, this is ntTV Nightly News.
You are looking at a live picture from UNT's Apogee Stadium. It's cold, dark, and damp, and it's just the beginning. If you were hoping for winter weather, it's here, and there's more to come. Good evening, I'm Andrew Fancher.
And I'm Hannah Minch. Andrew, are we still in Texas? Because this weather is insanely cold.
I totally agree, and it feels more like the Arctic than it does Denton. Now let's throw it to Donald to see how the weather will look tomorrow morning. Donald?
Thanks, guys. A winter weather advisory remains in effect through early tomorrow morning, and I hope you guys are ready for some slippery travels because another wave of freezing rain and some sleet is going to push into North Texas. Ice could accumulate to 1/4 of an inch, which is substantial enough to cause problems on the road. Right now, we're experiencing temperatures in the lower 30s, but when we factor in that wind speed of 13 miles per hour, it'll feel more like 21. Now, going into tonight's conditions, temperatures will drop to 29 degrees, but it'll feel more like 14, making it one of the coldest days of this year so far. Roads will be slippery tomorrow, which will impact our morning commute. I'll have a closer look at the long-range forecast later in the show, but right now, let's head over to ntTV's Justin Ballou for more on how to safeguard yourself in these dangerous weather conditions. Justin?
Like you said, Donald, temperatures are dropping and we want to make sure that you are prepared. The City of Denton has outlined a series of ways that we can prepare for this upcoming winter. First, check on your family members and neighbors in need of assistance. Everybody adjusts to these temperatures differently and we want to make sure that everybody's safe. Next, bring plants and pets inside. It's very dangerous for them to be outside in these cold temperatures. Cover up exposed pipes and turn off sprinkler systems to prevent further freezing. Stock up on home essential products like water and non-perishable food, because we don't know how ugly this winter is going to get and we don't know how easy getting to the store is going to be. For commuting students, create an emergency kit for your vehicle with items such as flashlights, first aid kits, blankets, and jumper cables in case your car breaks down. And check your tires and make sure that your car is well maintained. The last thing that we want is to get stuck on their way to class. We are about to see some even colder weather than we have been seeing here in Denton, and these are just some tips that can prepare us for these freezing temperatures. Back to you guys at the desk.
That's right, Justin. With the weather taking a dip well under freezing temperatures and severe weather on the way, many scheduled events, including vaccines, are being pushed back. In Denton County, the mass vaccination site at Texas Motor Speedway have been canceled for tomorrow, and all appointments moved to Friday because of the weather. Another new vaccination site is here at UNT. The university has been okayed to distribute both the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines. UNT President Neil Smatstrick said we'll follow the CDC guidelines.
We are required, like everyone else is, to follow the order of precedence for the administration of them. So we'll be administering them to people who qualify in the 1A, 1B category. Takership has been strong because not everyone's been able to get a vaccination from Denton County yet, although I gotta say Denton County's done an absolutely terrific job at Texas Motor Speedway, so that's a real point of pride for the county. And this is kind of a trial run. We'll see how it works, we'll work out the bugs, and then we'll get more then we'll order more in subsequent weeks.
The 500 doses UNT has purchased is just the beginning of this trial phase. UNT plans to continue if all goes well. It's the second week of February, and this year the CDC has reported a significant decrease in the number of cases of the flu. According to the CDC, February tends to be the worst month for flu infections. The typical red map of infections has temporarily turned green, with only 155 confirmed cases of influenza. It's no surprise as COVID precautions such as wearing masks and sanitizing have greatly contributed to the low numbers.
Today was the second day of the impeachment trials for former President Donald Trump. Democratic senators discussed all of the events leading up to the Capitol riots that happened on January 6th. CNN's Nadia Romero has more.
The Senate will convene as a court of impeachment.
The case against Donald Trump continues in the impeachment court of the Senate.
Donald Trump surrendered his role as commander-in-chief and became the inciter-in-chief of a dangerous insurrection.
House managers acting as prosecutors used then-President Trump's own words, both before the election
We're in a fight for the survival of our nation.
and after,
We're going to fight like hell, I'll tell you right now.
along with footage from the attack on the Capitol. As evidence, Trump committed an impeachable offense, inciting an insurrection.
He told them to fight like hell, and they brought us hell on that day.
He alone, our commander-in-chief, had the power to stop him. And he didn't.
Senators serving as jurors forced to relive the siege when many hid in fear for their lives.
The harm was real. The damage was real.
Former President Trump's defense team will make their case later this week, but it's likely Trump will be acquitted, especially since only 6 Republicans voted to support the constitutionality of this case. Far short of the 17 GOP senators Democrats need to convict the former president.
I think that pretty well fixes in place what you might see as the eventual outcome.
In Washington, I'm Nadia Romero.
The deadly riot at the U.S. Capitol was a shock to the nation and to the world. It sparked the second impeachment of our former president. So, how did we get to this point? Well, I was at the inauguration on January 20th, and it was unlike any other inauguration in American history. In response to the Capitol siege on January 6th, National Guardsmen from every state were deployed to D.C. On inauguration morning, a maze of checkpoints surrounded the White House and Capitol grounds. Blacked out convoys traveled to and from Pennsylvania Avenue.
Has been heard, and the will of the people has been heeded.
This was as close as we could get to the inauguration, a vantage point only accessible by foot.
The dream of justice for all will be deferred no longer.
Moments after Biden took office, we overheard this message on an encrypted channel. Bomb-sniffing canine units were discreetly activated, and the threat was neutralized. By 1 o'clock, more troops had arrived by motor coach, and police presence was intensified. The transfer of power was accompanied by ready-to-load M4 carbines, fully loaded FN SCAR battle rifles, and 15-round Beretta M9s. A new chapter in America's history.
Clear. And now, a rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism that we must confront and we will defeat.
And while the trial of Donald Trump will come to an end very soon, his departure from social media will not. In fact, Twitter has confirmed that President Donald Trump will not be on Twitter anytime soon. Last month, he was banned from the app after the Capitol riots of January 6th. A Twitter executive announced that he is now permanently banned even if he gets re-elected into office. They stated that the decision was made to lower the risk of future incitements of violence.
Coming up, Mark Cuban is causing a stir in the NBA. ntTV's Sarah Baskin has that story.
And we'll also see how you can stay safe this Valentine's Day. More when we come back.
It's not a surprise to hear Mavericks owner Mark Cuban at the top of headlines. Our very own Sarah Baskin has more on what brings Cuban back into the spotlight.
NBA teams now in the process of welcoming fans back into their arenas. All teams will play with the national anthem in keeping with long-standing league policy. That policy does dictate that players, coaches, and trainers must stand during the anthem or Canadian national anthems, but those rules have been loosely enforced, especially during the NBA playoff bubble last summer. Former NBA reporter Mark Fine gave his thoughts on Mark Cuban's decision earlier today.
I love Mark Cuban's comment where he said that people should go to their boss and tell them to play the national anthem before work every day. People have to remember this hasn't been going on forever, and it's really not a part of the fabric of sports. And it shouldn't matter whether it's played or not before the start of the game.
After the NBA's statement today, the Mavericks announced that they will play the anthem prior to tonight's game against the Atlanta Hawks, a matchup that I'll preview later on tonight.
Thanks, Sarah. The national anthem hasn't always been played before sporting events, and it was historically popularized during wartime, and the first instance was in a baseball game in 1862 during the Civil War. The biggest boost to the tradition was during the 1918 World Series in the midst of World War I. Playing it before games was popularized several years later during World War II. The NFL made standing for the national anthem mandatory during this time. Anthem scholar Mark Ferris has praised the current debate as a great adult discussion as long as it remains civil. Well, Hannah, it seems this week's cold front isn't going anywhere anytime soon.
That's right, Andrew. ntTV's Donald Britton has more weather updates.
Thanks, guys. It seems like the winter weather is here to stay. Temperatures across North Texas are slowly becoming dangerously cold. And as we look out at North Texas, temperatures are roughly the same. Let's take a look at our temperatures across the state. As we look out at the state, El Paso and Houston are the only two cities to be experiencing temperatures in the 60s. And I have to tell you, if I could be anywhere, I'd be in one of those two cities right now. But let's take a look at our 7-day forecast. We can expect sleet to rebuild and linger in the morning, so drivers on the road, please be safe. Cold and mild conditions throughout the weekend, and if you're making Valentine's Day plans on Sunday, you might want to stay in. The coldest day of the season arrives on Monday with some snow, so I'm really excited for the next week. That's it for the weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
Valentine's is this weekend, and with the looming threat of COVID-19, many are seeking alternative ways to celebrate.
That's right. ntTV's Hannah Gonzalez has more on how to stay safe when looking for love online.
Thanks, Hannah and Andrew. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and many people are headed out to the stores to buy flowers or sweet treats like these. But what about those who don't have a Valentine's? Many people are headed online to find love, and with these rising numbers does come the need for extra safety precautions. For starters, never share any personal information like your address or phone number with someone online. Be aware of red flags and ask plenty of questions to better understand who you are talking to. Try connecting virtually face-to-face before meeting in person, and share your date location with a friend before you go. And always remember to have an exit plan in the event that something does go wrong. Personally, I'll be spending Valentine's Day with friends, but if you do choose to go out, make sure to keep COVID-19 in mind. That's all I have. Back to y'all at the studio.
With the remaining threat of COVID putting a damper on our normal Valentine's Day plans, the CDC has issued a special recommendation for how you can observe this holiday safely. They suggest that any celebrations held in person should be only with those you live with. They also suggest virtual gatherings and dropping off your cards and gifts in order to remain socially distanced. However, if you're going to celebrate with someone you don't live with, your safest option is to take it outside.
SpaceX's satellite-based internet service is set to launch. What could that mean for your internet bill?
Have you ever wanted to take a boat to the mall? Find out how when we come back.
Have you ever complained about your internet being slow? Well, how about getting it from outer space? Elon Musk, better known for electric cars and trying to send people to Mars, is getting into the internet business. Using his SpaceX company, Musk is introducing an internet connection called Starlink. It uses an array of satellites to bounce the signal. It's available now for pre-order on a first-come, first-served basis. The hardware for your computer set costs around $499, and then it will be a monthly fee of $99. No word yet on when it will be widely available.
Andrew, isn't there just so much more we can learn from space?
I certainly agree, Hannah. We tend to find out a lot about ourselves when we look at the stars. Now, ntTV's Jose Alonso has some breakthrough research to tell us about in this week's Eagle Tech story.
That's right, you guys. UNT researchers discovered a new way to measure the lifespan and birth of stars. They say that stars are dancing to their own tune, which helped discover their birth and evolution. Dr. Yuan Li and doctoral student Chung Ha, along with a team of researchers, discovered a turbulent pattern among Orion's connected star groups to trace their interstellar gas.
I started at UNC and I had this student who was interested in working with me, Chung Ha. And I said, you know, I've got this long list of possible projects for you. Just pick one. And he picked this one. And I said, just so you know, it's a bit risky because nobody has ever done it. I can't guarantee success. I don't know what we're gonna find. And he's like, it's okay. I just started. I can, if it turns out to be a waste of time, that's all right. It sounds like a really cool idea.
And it turned out to become a research breakthrough. Dr. Lee says that with the help of Marina Konko's data, they used turbulence in interstellar gas to estimate parameters. With this information, they were able to get precise observable data to track a star's exact position and movement, which eliminated uncertainties of prior research.
So basically, when you look at a star, usually you only see their position in the sky, right? You don't have the distance from.
Dr. Lee says that this discovery will not only help understand stars, but planets, galaxies, and even the universe. The team's research has been published in the Astrophysical Journal Letters. If students are interested in learning more about galaxies and cosmology, Dr. Lee will be teaching a new astronomy course this coming fall. Back to you guys at the desk.
For almost a year now, many people across the world have been looking for ways to stay busy and have fun, all while following social distancing guidelines. Thankfully, ntTV's Naomi Sanchez has found an interesting way to do just that.
Listen up, all my nature lovers. If lakes, walking trails, and parks are something of interest to you, then the Longhorn Benbrook Lake is sure to impress.
With a lake as vast as the view can see, Longhorn Park is good for fishing, picnicking, or just for watching the sunset. One of the best features, though, has got to be the trails, which run for many miles. Their true beauty comes later at night, though, when the sun sets and the city lights come on.
One thing not many people may know about this park, though, is that apart from its scenic views, Longhorn Park is home to the Army Corps of Engineers, which actually reside right here in this building behind me, and their job is pretty much to regulate lake levels when they get too high or too low.
Fort Worth residents have even shown their love for this park through social media, from camping to fishing to even showing a pup's first snow. With COVID still around, this park has offered residents a way to go out without worry. Here's how Longhorn Park has kept locals busy.
The main thing that I do when I come here is look at the scenic views in the sunset that they have, and I also go on the hiking trails. And during the summer, I go down into the boat unloading station and I take out.
If you happen to be in the Fort Worth area sometime soon, try swinging by to visit this must-see place.
Well, I'll tell you what, that Super Bowl was quite exciting, and this has truly been a busy one for sports.
Definitely. I personally loved the commercials. What about you?
Oh yes, most certainly. Now I think that ntTV's Sarah Baskin has some updates for us. Sarah?
Thanks, guys. It was definitely supposed to be a more exciting game than what it was, so the commercials were for sure a highlight. But Tom Brady and the Bucs have been celebrating in a pretty unique way this week. I'll let you know more after this. UNT Soccer's season opener against SMU was canceled last night after a positive COVID test in SMU's locker room. Because the game is out of conference, there's no word on whether or not the teams will try to reschedule. UNT beat Incarnate Word in an exhibition match on January 29th, but before that, it had been a whopping 437 days since their last match after their entire 2020 season was lost due to COVID-19. The team's next game is this Friday against Midwestern State in their home opener. Now, the Dallas Mavericks have had a disappointing season, but they have another chance to add one to the win column tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. They've won back-to-back games, but have struggled to be consistent this season. All eyes will be on Luka Doncic and Trae Young, as the two have had memorable matchups in the past and were even traded for each other on draft night back in 2018. They last battled each other a week ago, and the Mavs took down the Hawks 122-116. And finally, Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski are celebrating winning the Super Bowl in signature Tampa Bay style. During the Victory Boat Parade today, Tom Brady was captured tossing the Lombardi Trophy to tight end Rob Gronkowski from one boat to the other in a casual way that only someone who's won 7 Super Bowls could do. After their last Super Bowl together in New England, Gronkowski infamously dented the Lombardi Trophy by using it as a baseball bat during a celebration at Fenway Park. Now, there's no word on whether or not the Bucs trophy sustained any damage after today's toss, but hopefully it escaped dent-free. And that's all I have for sports. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, we all know or have had embarrassing moments on Zoom, but for one Texas lawyer, it became more than a personal embarrassment. It went viral. Jeremy Roth has the tale of the kitty and the lawyer.
A bizarre mishap during a virtual court hearing likely left participants thinking, "You've got to be kidding me." During the live-streamed hearing, Texas lawyer Rod Ponton's face was inexplicably replaced with that of a fluffy kitten.
Can you hear me, Judge? I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
The proceedings were put on pause, and participants littered the call with suggestions on how to fix the feline foul-up.
I believe you have a filter turned on.
The prevailing theory was that a child had previously used the computer, and eventually the issue was corrected and the hearing went on as planned. The judge later shared the humorous video on Twitter, suggesting to always check your video filter settings, or you too could suffer an unprofessional faux pas. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Thanks for watching ntTV Nightly News.
Join us again tomorrow night at 6 p.m. here on North Texas Television.